If there's no contact for half a day, they'll make death grip calls. In short, they're afraid of being abandoned, so they try to hold on tighter. Regardless of the purpose behind a relationship between a man and a woman, it's like holding quicksand. If you don't squeeze it, it naturally stays in your hand. If you try to squeeze it tight, it slips away faster. Actually, this principle also applies in love, Xiao Min added. Yunyan had never been in a relationship. Her brief crush was like the fleeting bloom of a night blooming cereus. So, while she could understand this insecurity, she couldn't empathize. But in the end, she still had to do something. She hadn't eaten pork, but she had seen pigs run. Yunyan left the hotel, first bought the necessary items, and then began to act out. Nanzhou, being a coastal region, was naturally prosperous. The most luxurious mall was some distance from the hotel. Buying numerous clothes, bags, and jewelry left Yunyan somewhat dazed, as if she had returned to her old self, when she never batted an eye at spending money. Back then, she had no concept of money. It wasn't extravagance, just that if she liked something, she wouldn't think twice. She would even give money to beggars on the street if they looked pitiful. While abroad, she once gave money to a singer in a corner of a plaza, enough for the singer to make a record, which made the singer think she was interested in him, and she was harassed for quite some time. When she was nearly done shopping, she called Jiang Yinyan. Usually, she avoided calling this number, so today, when dialing it, she had to do a lot of psychological preparation. She had to smile, be sweet, be cloying, and act out to the extreme. So, after the phone connected, she sweetly called out, "Young Master Yin," and the moment the words left her mouth, even she got goosebumps. There was a slight silence on the other end of the phone, and Yin wondered if he was also grossed out. She stated her location and then boldly made a request. "I bought too many things to carry. Can young Master Yin come pick me up?" Jiang Yin on the other end seemed somewhat surprised, asking her now. "Of course." Yin smiled. She stood in front of a shop window, watching the neon lights on the street. It wasn't just young people already dressed in all sorts of ghostly costumes wandering the streets. There seemed to be some event. It was very lively. She added, "The streets and alleys are full of spooky things. I'm scared." On the other end, Jiang Yin seemed to be asking someone, and a faint voice informed him. It was Halloween. It was Old Lou's voice. Soon, Jiang Yin said, "Stay put in the mall. I'll have Old Lou come pick you up." "You can't come pick me up?" Yin felt like she wasn't just acting out. She was courting death after asking that question. There was a brief silence on the other end. Then she heard him say, "I have a meeting soon." Yin simply said, "Oh, go back to the hotel with Old Lou. Dinner will be at the hotel." "The restaurant has already been notified," Jiang Yin said. Yin pursed her lips in thought. Yin, I'm listening, but I don't want to go back to the hotel. This was Yin's true feeling. "Where do you want to go?" "Eat out." Yin thought for a moment. "I checked during the day. There's a restaurant not far from the mall that has a fish feast tonight, with fresh fish flown in and black truffles. I want to join the fun." Jiang Yin's voice didn't sound annoyed or impatient. He told her, "If you want a fish feast, just have the restaurant prepare it. The restaurant also has black truffles. There's no need to eat out." If it were any other time, Yin wouldn't care about these things. A fish feast or black truffles. She wasn't interested at all. But now, wasn't she acting out just for the sake of acting out? Although even she wasn't used to it, she would get used to it by continuing to act out. She said, "Eating at the hotel restaurant is boring, and it's not lively. Anyway, I just want to eat out." This time, Jiang Yin was silent for a bit longer. When he spoke again, his tone sounded serious. "Wait for the car to pick you up." After the call ended, Yin realized her palms were sweating. When he was a yin, she would often be so reckless with him, going wherever she wanted or doing whatever she pleased, and as long as it was within his sight, he would agree unconditionally. Now, facing Jiang Yin, being so reckless was a first. The shop window reflected Yin's face, faintly discernible, as white as jade. Earlier, while trying on clothes, she heard the staff whispering about her, mostly envying her beauty and wealth. Of course, they also suspected she was someone's kept mistress, and so on. In their eyes, anyone beautiful and wealthy couldn't be without a man's backing. Her hand, tucked in her pocket, touched the bank card, and her fingers pressed hard against its edge, making her fingertips ache. They weren't wrong. She was being kept. Yin didn't know if Jiang Yin had ultimately compromised. Would the car pick her up to return to the hotel, or to go to the restaurant? Jiang Yin had ended the call with just that one sentence, and from his tone, she clearly felt his displeasure. Was this a good start? Yin's heart felt heavy. She took a deep breath and slowly exhaled, but the suffocating feeling did not ease. The coffee in the VVIP room was excellent. Yin sat by the window, breathing in the rich aroma of premium Blue Mountain coffee. In front of her were several kinds of pastries, reportedly from the hands of a Michelin pastry chef. After several large purchases, She had gained direct access to VVIP. She was all too familiar with the mall's operations, so while waiting for old Lou to arrive, she went straight to the member center and was then respectfully ushered into the VVIP room. Even her purchases were neatly arranged on a side table by the staff, who thoughtfully asked if she needed a car. 20 minutes later, someone sat down opposite Yunyan. She thought it was old Lou, but when she turned her head, she froze. The situation was unexpected. Yunyan was truly stunned for a moment, then blurted out, "Aren't you in a meeting?" On the phone, she hadn't detected any hint of compromise from him. Jiang Yunyan sat opposite her. The table wasn't large, so they weren't far apart. Yunyan could even feel the chill clinging to his suit jacket. But his eyes and brows showed no chill, though his gaze remained dark and deep. Jiang Yunyan didn't answer her question, simply asking, "Where are your things?" Yunyan gestured with her chin to the side. He followed her gaze and, with a faint smile, said, "It seems Miss Yu is in a good mood. The new arrivals this season are all quite good. I bought them because they look nice." Yunyan took a sip of coffee, then thought for a moment before looking up at him. "Young Master Yin, you're not feeling a pang over the cost, are you?" "Pang over what?" Jiang Yunyan's gaze landed on her face. Yunyan pursed her lips and smiled. "True, what I spent today is nothing in young Master Yan's eyes." Jiang Yunyan gave a faint smile. "In the past, you bought more than this every time you went shopping. So if it seems I could be even more unrestrained?" Jiang Yunyan's gaze was calm. "As you please." Yunyan averted her gaze, gently turning her coffee cup. After a moment's thought, she suddenly asked him again, "Did young Master Yin come to pick me up personally because the meeting was canceled, or did you cancel it for me?" Pressuring someone for their true feelings could be considered courting disaster, especially with a man like Jiang Yunyan, who probably detested being speculated about and scrutinized the most. Sure enough, Jiang Yunyan slightly furrowed his brow. "The meeting has been temporarily postponed." Yunyan let out an "oh," a smile touching her brow. "Which restaurant?" Jiang Yunyan asked in a low voice. Yunyan stumbled inwardly, almost letting her expression change, but managed to compose herself. Her eyelids flickered, and her eyes sparkled with a myriad of charms. "Young Master Yin, are you joining me for dinner?" Jiang Yunyan leaned back, his legs in suit trousers stretching out long and relaxed. His posture was leisurely. His gaze was leisurely. "Just so happens I haven't had dinner yet." Yunyan's gaze met his. His seemed both teasing and probing, as if waiting for her composure to falter. She didn't look away, offering a slight smile. "All right, let's go." Jiang Yunyan stood up, casually picked up a coffee cup in front of her, and took a sip. "The coffee's not bad." Yunyan's heart fluttered slightly. She deliberately said, "Are you snatching coffee from a woman? Are you a simple woman?" Jiang Yunyan looked at her with a faint smile. "After you freely splurged on my dime, I can't even get a sip of coffee?" "All right, you're the sugar daddy, you call the shots." Jiang Yunyan stepped forward and picked up all the bags. Yunyan didn't even need to turn around to see the glances from all directions. He ignored the stares of others. As they were leaving, he leaned down to her ear and whispered with a low chuckle, "Call me that tonight in bed." Yunyan stumbled inwardly once more. Suppressing her quickened breath, she let out a soft laugh. "Then I prefer to call you uncle." Jiang Yunyan's expression subtly changed, and when he spoke again, his voice turned cold. "Do you want to die?" Yunyan fell silent. Yes, she did. She was madly hovering on the edge of courting disaster. Even though Yunyan had her own agenda, it had to be said that dinner tonight was quite pleasant. The fish carving feast was quite spectacular. Yunyan had attended many fish carving feasts before, and even socialite circles would sometimes hold their own, but tonight was truly the most interesting one she had ever attended. Mainly, it was crowded and lively, and since it was Halloween, the restaurant had prepared various performances. The fish carving ceremony invited diners to participate. Each diner received a raffle ticket with a number upon entering the restaurant, and a lucky diner would be drawn to make the first cut. The atmosphere was excellent. Yunyan and Jiang Yunyan got a good table by the window, where they could both feel the restaurant's liveliness and see the dimly lit coast outside. Even at this late hour, people were still playing with luminous hot air balloons, which faintly shimmered as they rose. Yunyan said, "Even if hotel restaurants have fish carving feasts, they wouldn't be this lively, would they?" The restaurant's soft lighting made Yunyan's eyes and brows appear soft, sweet, and charming. Jiang Yunyan's gaze wasn't on the fish carving stage at the front of the restaurant. It was consistently on her. "No, not this lively," he said. Only then did he recall that she used to love joining in the fun, even to the point of getting stomachaches for a bite of street food. The Yu family had extremely strict requirements for food ingredients, and their chefs strived for perfection. But when she was little, she preferred to follow her classmates to eat street food or fly restaurants. In his opinion, such places were only suitable for tough people like him. How could a delicate young lady's stomach be so robust? Sure enough, She not only got a severe stomachache, but also suffered from vomiting, diarrhea, and a fever, finally recovering after 2 days on a 4-drip. During that period, she was required to eat only bland food. He still remembered her tearfully pleading with him to take her to eat something delicious, saying that bland food left no taste in her mouth. He asked her what she wanted to eat, and she was quite unreserved, boldly listing a whole bunch of things: McDonald's, KFC, ice cream, cold rabbit meat, braised duck neck, and failing that, a braised pork hock would also do. He then silently crossed out all the preceding items for her, leaving only the braised pork hock. That day, he went to the wet market with the Yu family's procurement staff, selected a very tender and small pork hock for her, and told the chef to simply boil it with a little salt and skim off the oil. After it was done, he separated the fatty and lean meat, keeping more lean, tearing it into strips and plating it. He then served it to her with a small dish of diluted seafood sauce. At first, she was disgusted, pouting so much her mouth could reach the sky. She even, unusually, threw a tantrum, absolutely refusing to eat it. He held a piece of hock meat dipped in seafood sauce to her lips. She sniffed it, her cautious, wary, and disdainful look exactly like that of a picky cat. Finally, she reluctantly took a bite, and then her eyes lit up. That day, she quickly finished the small plate of hock meat he had prepared, then looked at him pitifully, wanting more. He said, "We'll talk about it after you get better." As he left her bedroom, he heard her raging, even cursing him with clumsy words. A young lady born into wealth, she didn't even know how to curse properly. The fish carving ceremony began. The head chef personally came to the front hall to host, pulling a numbered ticket from the lottery box and reading it aloud. At first, Yun Yin just watched the excitement, thinking her luck wasn't that good. With so many people in the restaurant, how could it be her turn? It wasn't until Jiang Yinyan reminded her that she picked up her raffle ticket to look. It really was her. In the past, she had just joined in the fun at fish carving feasts, but she hadn't expected to make the first cut this time. Honestly, Yun Yin was a little nervous. Everyone's gaze in the hall gathered on her. After politely declining several times, she was still invited to the fish carving stage. The head chef handed her the fish knife and instructed her on how to make the first cut. Yun Yin felt that the knife skills for a fish carving feast were very important. With her limited abilities, what if her first cut wasn't good and ruined the whole fish? Seeing her hesitate, the head chef cheerfully asked, "Madam, is that gentleman by the window your boyfriend? How about inviting him up to help you make the first cut?" Yun Yin was startled and waved her hands repeatedly, saying there was no need. But the head chef misunderstood, thinking she was shy, and began to encourage her. The people around also joined in the cheering and excitement, leaving Yun Yin feeling flustered. However, Jiang Yinyan stood up. Yun Yin's breath hitched. The thought that flashed in her mind was that he was leaving the restaurant, which would be good, to avoid awkwardness. But unexpectedly, he walked towards her. The entire hall erupted in applause and cheers. Yun Yin was stunned on the spot, watching wide-eyed as Jiang Yinyan walked up to her. Only then did she react slightly, stammering, What are you doing?" "Helping you make the first cut." As Jiang Yinyan spoke, he gently encircled her from behind, his large hand covering her hand holding the knife. Although Yun Yin felt awkward, she couldn't be coy in front of everyone. So she whispered with a smile, "You didn't actually need to come up. What if someone recognizes you?" "Focus," Jiang Yinyan whispered, leaning his head down, his thin lips close to her ear. "Put the same force into this that you used to stab me." Yun Yin was speechless. The diners in the restaurant, however, couldn't hear what they were saying. All they could see was an extremely attractive couple making the first cut at the fish carving feast. The dimly lit stage made the handsome man and beautiful woman a truly pleasing sight. Just like that, with Jiang Yinyan's help, Yun Yin successfully completed the task of the first cut. After cleaning her hands, she still felt the warmth of the man's palm lingering on the back of her hand. The meal didn't end too late. During this time, Jiang Yinyan's phone rang several times, and after that, she lost her appetite. Jiang Yinyan asked her why she wasn't eating. She said, "I'm full." Jiang Yinyan chuckled softly. "You traveled through half of Nanzhou just to eat this much? No matter how delicious the food, my stomach has its limits." Yun Yin actually felt awkward. She didn't know if it was because they were too high profile at the fish carving feast earlier, or if Jiang Yinyan simply radiated charisma. But ever since they started eating, glances had been cast their way. If it were purely curiosity and admiration, that would be fine, but Yun Yin was very afraid of being photographed by the media. Although Jiang Yinyan rarely appeared in the media, and there was very little information about him online, it was still necessary to proceed with caution. "Mainly, I'm a bit tired." Yun Yin was indeed fatigued. She had rushed for a flight early this morning, then hadn't had the mind to rest after arriving at the hotel room. And the afternoon was another courting disaster shopping spree. At this moment, her calves ached with fatigue. Jiang Yinyan asked, "Truly tired?" It sounded like a very ordinary, caring remark, but Yun Yin still felt a surge of alertness. She looked up at him, emphasizing, "I'm really tired." Jiang Yinyan seemed amused by her, the corners of his mouth lifting slightly. "What did I say?" Yun Yin saw the teasing in his eyes and fell silent. "If you're tired, let's go back." Jiang Yinyan was unusually accommodating. Yun Yin nodded, but felt a little uneasy inwardly. She tried her best to casually ask him, "You'll have to go back for a meeting, right?" Jiang Yinyan looked at her, his eyes meaningful. "I was just asking." Yun Yin's smile was unnatural. Jiang Yinyan, full of lazy charm, said, "You don't actually think I booked another room, do you?" Yun Yin. She hadn't thought so. He wouldn't be that kind. Yun Yin had a good night's sleep. Jiang Yinyan had personally driven to the mall to pick her up, without old Lu accompanying him. So after arriving at the hotel, he first changed his clothes. Before that, the butler had already hung all his clothes neatly. So Yun Yin had known all along that the so-called another room was merely a smokescreen for outsiders. Luckily, Jiang Yinyan's phone kept ringing frequently, and he was about to leave after changing his clothes. Yun Yin was about to wash up. Seeing him bending his head to fasten his cufflinks, she wondered if she should go up and hug him, deliberately holding him back from leaving, delaying his important business. Would that make him unhappy? But when this thought flashed into her mind, even she felt horrified. For now, never mind whether he'd be annoyed or not, just the thought of actually hugging and clinging to him would be a struggle for her. At least she needed to prepare herself mentally. On second thought, she decided against it. There'd be plenty of time in the future. Jiang Yinyan saw her leaning there. He walked forward with a low chuckle, meeting her gaze. "Weren't you going to shower? Take it off for me." Yun Yin was afraid that mischief would sparkle in his eyes again. She pushed him away. "You'd better go to your meeting." Before she could withdraw her wrist, it was seized by the man. With a pull, she was in his arms. For a moment, she was extremely nervous. "You, aren't you going to a meeting?" Jiang Yinyan lowered his head, enjoying her panic. He smiled. "Why so nervous? I thought you were quite bold today." Yun Yin knew he was deliberately testing her. He would certainly suspect her abnormal behavior today. But her current principle was to grit her teeth and see the act through, as it was all about mindset. She smiled and looked up. "I'm bold because this isn't Beishur." "What about in Beishur?" "Beishur is your territory. How dare I act recklessly there?" Jiang Yinyan lowered his eyes to look at her. "Do you think I'd be helpless against you just because we're in Nanzhou?" Yun Yin tried her best to force a smile. "Young Master Yan's power is overwhelming. Dealing with me anywhere would be effortless for you. I just feel more at ease in an unfamiliar environment." Jiang Yinyan's eyes and brows took on a lazy air. "Is that so? Then prove it." Yun Yin froze. "Kiss me." Yun Yin slightly pursed her lips and smiled, making an effort to play along. Is young Master Yin getting attached to the land of gentle embrace? Jiang Yinyan lowered his head and looked into her eyes, saying word for word, "Kiss me, and I'll leave." Yun Yin didn't want to prolong it. She lifted her eyes, offered her red lips, and kissed him on the cheek. Jiang Yinyan raised an eyebrow. "That's it. Wasn't that a kiss?" Jiang Yinyan scoffed, then suddenly reached out and cupped the back of her head, immediately lowering his face. Yun Yin gave a muffled moan. After struggling twice, she stopped resisting, allowing the man to grind against her lips and teeth. After a short while, Jiang Yinyan released her, his forehead gently resting against hers, his exhaled breath hot. Her hand lightly pressed against his chest, feeling his firm, rising and falling chest. The heat radiated through his shirt fabric. She didn't dare to act rashly, lowering her gaze, her breathing quickening, her heart in her throat. She was truly afraid he would impulsively push her down. Jiang Yinyan whispered, his voice deep, "Stay in the room obediently and wait for me to come back." Every word and phrase was laced with desire. Yinyan's heart trembled. She gave an unnatural smile. "Okay." As a result, Jiang Yinyan didn't return that night. At first, Yinyan didn't dare to sleep, but later, unable to bear it, she closed her eyes and knew nothing more. Yinyan wasn't sure, so after washing up, she called Old Lu. Old Lu told her that young Master Yin had indeed been busy last night and hadn't returned to his room. Yinyan woke up quite late today. When the butler called to inquire about her meal arrangements, she told him that breakfast would be combined with lunch and one meal in the morning would be enough. After a second thought, she told the butler not to prepare anything. She would go directly to the restaurant. Upon hearing this, the butler informed her of the restaurant's exact location, asked about her preferences, and promptly notified the restaurant to prepare. Yinyan only went to the restaurant near noon, not because she was particularly hungry, but simply because she felt it was time for a meal. The elevator she took was designed for scenic views, and looking down from a height of over 90 floors, Yinyan felt bouts of dizziness and several moments of disorientation. As she got higher and higher above the ground, She inexplicably felt weariness and fatigue, and a sense of entrapment, as if she couldn't break free from a cage. She wanted to do something, but couldn't. Her hands and feet felt tightly bound, making it impossible for her to move. After all, humans are not birds. They can't be free just because they float high in the air. There are 7 restaurants in the hotel, located on different floors. Apart from the buffet restaurant on the first floor, the other 6 restaurants offer a variety of cuisines from around the world, and the higher the floor, the higher the prices. The elevator went straight to the 100th floor, to what was known as the Cloud Restaurant. Stepping out, the view immediately opened up into an almost 360-degree panorama, with the sea and sky merging so seamlessly that one might mistakenly believe they were truly standing among the clouds. The Cloud Restaurant had a high per-person cost. Within the hotel, it primarily catered to guests on executive floors and above, and, externally, to high-income individuals and social elites. Thus, it wasn't as lively as an internet-famous spot, especially at lunchtime, where most diners were hotel guests. Yunyin saw Jiang Yinyin sitting with 3 others at a window seat not far away. Old Lu was at a nearby table, eating while flipping through a magazine. He appeared leisurely, but in reality, he was observing everything around him, ready to be alert to any abnormality. Jiang Yinyin had indeed not returned to his hotel room. He was still wearing the clothes he had changed into last night, though his suit jacket was off and draped over a nearby chair back. His dark shirt fit snugly, making his figure appear exceptionally straight and tall. Perhaps also because they were in a restaurant, he wasn't as serious as he would be in an office. 2 buttons of his shirt were unbuttoned, revealing a hint of allure beneath his normally restrained demeanor. Yunyin didn't approach him. She chose another window seat and sat down, ordering a coffee and 2 light dishes. The restaurant's main feature was its expansive view, so the interior design wasn't overly complex. Although Yunyin and Jiang Yinyin were a bit far apart, they were both seated along the window in an arc, allowing her to see him. The people at his table looked more like subordinates, not the group she had seen yesterday. She immediately understood that Jiang Yinyin had long since established his own team in Nanzhou and wasn't here to pioneer new territory, as she had thought. Clearly, he looked very relaxed when with his subordinates, not as serious as usual. She even seemed to see him smile, his eyes and brows relaxing, looking confident, uninhibited, and incredibly free and easygoing. It was as if he were another person. Yinyin couldn't quite put her finger on it. In her impression, Yin was quiet and reserved. Even as a child, she could discern an inherent ruthlessness in him. After their reunion, Jiang Yinyin had been more sullen, prejudiced, and moody, with a ruthlessness hidden beneath his calm exterior that was even more intense than in his youth. Even when he smiled while talking to her, she could always feel the coldness and manipulation deep within his smiling eyes. This was the first time she had seen Jiang Yinyin like this. Perhaps his past was a heavy shell for him, including his current identity as a member of the Jiang family. Is that it? It wasn't until she heard the women at the next table talking that Yunyin realized she had just been lost in thought, seemingly paying too much attention to Jiang Yinyin. She turned her head to look at the scenery outside the window, still feeling the chill of being so high up. The women at the next table were still whispering, "That man is so handsome. He's my type. Don't tell me you're trying to pick up men here. What's wrong with picking up men? What if I succeed? How do you plan to do it?" A moment of silence. "I'll just go up and add him on WeChat. Everyone dining here aims for elegance, right? Even if you're not elegant, you have to pretend to be. If a girl takes the initiative, he'd have to be a gentleman, wouldn't he?" Yinyin turned her head back again, looking at the 2 ladies at the next table. Actually, the distance between tables was decent, offering enough private dining space, but the restaurant was simply too quiet. Even the background music was faint. This made it convenient for Yunyin to eavesdrop. The woman, who appeared to be under 30, had meticulously maintained skin and carefully applied makeup. Her attire suggested she was an elite. There were many companies nearby, many of which were in finance, so she was very likely in that line of work. Yunyin suddenly became interested. She was quite curious to see what Jiang Yinyin would be like when someone tried to pick him up. The woman directly opposite rose, intending to launch her offensive. She was as refined in appearance as her attire and had a good figure, possessing the capital to approach high-quality men. No wonder she was so confident. She didn't know why, but Yunyin felt nervous. Nervous for whom? Nervous for Jiang Yinyin, or for the woman? Yunyin rested her chin on her hand, her eyes occasionally following the woman's figure. After all, openly staring at such a thing wasn't very polite. Her companion was also constantly watching her, with a smile on her face. It seemed this wasn't their first time doing something like this. The woman walked forward. However, before she could even get close to Jiang Yinyin, old Lu stood up and, like Cheng Yaojin suddenly appearing midway, blocked the woman's path, forcibly separating her from Jiang Yinyin. Yunyin sighed lightly. She had almost forgotten old Lu, the personal bodyguard, was there. Yin couldn't clearly hear what the woman said, but she could sense her eagerness and embarrassment, and it seemed she really wanted to move forward. However, old Lu was stern-faced and kept shaking his head at her. As for Jiang Yin, he completely ignored it, as if the woman in front of him didn't exist at all. From such a close distance, how could he not see or hear her? His subordinates also didn't curiously look around. This made Yin understand that Jiang Yin being approached happened so frequently that even his subordinates didn't consider it worth watching. The woman came back, her face extremely displeased. After she sat down, her companion kept comforting her. Yin vaguely heard the woman's disdainful tone. "Oh, so great to have a bodyguard, huh? What's so amazing about that? He looks like a human, but this young lady, don't even fancy him." Yin's mind raced with fantasies. What kind of scene would it be if this woman had pointed at Jiang Yin and openly cursed? "What's so great about you?" Unimaginable. But she guessed the woman's immediate fate would be to be escorted out by old Lu, while Jiang Yin would still be chatting and laughing lightheartedly. Yin suddenly felt a bit of admiration for Jiang Yin's unmoved by favor or disgrace. It was just a small interlude. People dining here weren't there for a spectacle, and quickly stopped paying attention to it. So the two women didn't leave, and continued to eat leisurely. Yin once again admired them. If it were her, she probably would have picked up her bag and left long ago. Since he couldn't be obtained, then even being under the same roof as him was a waste of time. The two women ate heartily, chatting and laughing again, as if the awkward scene had never occurred. Adults aren't forgetful. They're good at selective forgetting. Her meal arrived. Surprisingly, two restaurant staff members walked over, one leading the way, the other pushing a food cart, heading towards her. When they got closer, Yin saw that the one leading the way was the restaurant manager. Just as she was surprised, the restaurant manager stepped forward and respectfully told her, "Miss Yu, your meal has arrived." She was staying in the presidential suite, and the butler would have informed the restaurant in advance, so it was normal for the restaurant manager to know her surname. Yin didn't think much of it. But then, she saw the restaurant manager bring over a glass of orange juice. Surprised, she quietly informed him, "Excuse me, I ordered coffee." The restaurant manager smiled slightly. Young Master Yin has already instructed the restaurant that drinking coffee at this time would be bad for your sleep, so it was changed to orange juice. This time, it's just noon. Yin subconsciously glanced in Jiang Yin's direction. The distance was far, so she couldn't be sure if he was looking over. His subordinates seemed to be discussing something, and he was listening impassively. Also, the restaurant manager continued, "Your ordered meal was too light, so young Master Yin reordered a menu for you." Looking at what was served, it was one meat dish, one vegetable dish, and one soup, plus a small plate of exquisite pastries. Not only was it perfect in color, aroma, and taste, but the nutrition was also truly balanced. "Please enjoy your meal." After the restaurant manager left, Yin slowly didn't touch her chopsticks. She stared motionless at the meal on the table, feeling an indescribable mix of emotions. Repulsed? No. After all, this set meal was indeed much more thoughtfully prepared than what she had haphazardly ordered. Gladly accepting? Not quite, at least not very gladly. What kind of feeling was this? His eyes were constantly on her, omnipresent, like a rope wrapped around her, getting tighter and tighter. Suddenly, she lost her appetite. Yin picked up the orange juice and took 2 sips. The sweetness and tartness were just right, leaving a crisp orange aroma on her lips and teeth. She slowly sipped the orange juice until more than half the glass was gone. Then the light above her head was blocked by someone. It was old Lu. As Yin looked up, she also noticed the commotion at the next table. The two women simultaneously looked over. After all, old Lu was half their enemy. Old Lu didn't sit down, but stood respectfully beside Yin and said in a low voice, "Miss Yu, is the food not to your liking? If you don't like it, I'll have the restaurant remake it." That suffocating feeling came over Yin again. She told old Lu, "No need, I'm just not very hungry." Old Lu nodded slightly. "Those people," Yin asked hesitantly, "are they members of the project team?" After asking, realizing it might not be appropriate, she added, "It's fine, you don't have to say if it's inconvenient." Old Lu chuckled and said, "Actually, there's nothing inconvenient about it. Those people are indeed from the project teams here in Nanzhou. The ones Miss Yu saw are all directors of their respective project teams." Yin was surprised. "So that means they are not from the same project team?" "Of course not," old Lu answered readily. "The projects here in Nanzhou are being rolled out one after another. How could a single project team's manpower be enough? For complex projects like this one, even the current project teams aren't enough. Young Master Yin is considering hiring more people." Yin was secretly alarmed. She had underestimated the situation. "So, young Master Yin was having a meeting with him last night?" Yun Yin asked again. Old Lu said, not entirely. Before the meeting, there was a social engagement. Young Master Yin drank some alcohol at the event. Perhaps he was afraid of disturbing Miss Yu, so he worked straight through. Wait, drank alcohol? Yun Yin processed this in her mind. So that means he went to a social engagement after having dinner with me? Old Lu nodded. Yes, the engagement was originally scheduled for 6 p.m., but... Yun Yin looked up at him. But Miss Yu was outside, Old Lu said. Yun Yin caught her breath. Yesterday evening, I was supposed to pick up Miss Yu, but later, for some reason, young Master Yin drove out himself. The originally scheduled engagement was also postponed because of him. Old Lu paused here, thought for a moment, and then spoke slowly. If I may say something that might offend you, Miss Yu's actions yesterday were ill-advised. Of course, she knew they were ill-advised. A thought flickered in her mind. She pretended not to understand and asked, Do you mean I disturbed young Master Yin? Not disturbed, but disrupted. Old Lu corrected her choice of words. Young Master Yin strongly dislikes having his schedule disrupted. He could be said to utterly detest it. So, Miss Yu, please don't do that next time. Young Master Yin doesn't have patience every time. After hearing this, although she feigned an aggrieved expression, her heart was actually leaping with joy. All right, knowing Jiang Yinyan's weakness is enough. Detest it? Isn't this exactly what she was waiting for? After Old Lu left, Yinyan suddenly felt in a good mood and picked up her chopsticks. As she ate, she kept feeling someone staring at her from the opposite direction. She looked up and met the scrutinizing gaze of the woman at the next table. That look couldn't be more obvious. It seemed to say, why did he look so fierce at me, but was so respectful to you? Yunyan gave her a slight smile. The woman angrily averted her gaze. Yunyan bit the red glass straw, making her lips appear redder and her teeth whiter. All right, ignore her. She ate quietly. As she ate, she heard someone at the next table clear their throat. Yunyan subconsciously looked up. She froze. She saw Jiang Ninian walking towards her, followed by the project team members. They had finished eating. The throat clearing at the next table was a reminder for her companion to look, not intended to alert Yunyan. Yunyan really wanted to pretend not to see him, but it was clear Jiang Yinyan was coming straight for her, his intention very obvious. Finally, Jiang Yinyan, under the starry-eyed gaze of the women at the next table, walked to Yunyan's table, pulled out a chair, and sat down. How vicious was this move? Even though Jiang Yinyan's broad figure completely blocked the gazes from behind him, Yunyan could still feel the hostility from the next table. Fortunately, she didn't know them. Do you have any plans for the afternoon? Jiang Yinyan asked. Yunyan wasn't sure of his purpose in asking and said, no plans. Jiang Yinyan nodded slightly. If you have no plans, then don't run around aimlessly in the hotel. Run around aimlessly? Yunyan felt this word was used to describe a child incapable of self-care. Yunyan lowered her gaze, sipping orange juice, then said, So you came over just to tell me this? Yes. Yunyan was momentarily stunned, then asked again, You're busy. Why can't I go out? Someone beside them seemed to chuckle, a very faint sound that quickly ceased. Jiang Yinyan hadn't expected her to continue asking, his eyes clearly showing a moment of surprise. That brief instant was enough for Yunyan to catch, and she almost couldn't hold back her laughter, but she swallowed it down. After all, his subordinates were all present. Jiang Yinyan frowned slightly, his long fingers tapping the tabletop. If you're alone, just stay put in the hotel. If something happens, no one will look after you. He stood up and left. His subordinates followed closely. Old Lu glanced at Yunyan, then also left. Yunyan sighed inwardly. The stares from the next table were like daggers. Is it that serious? With Old Lu's reminder, Yunyan decided to continue full steam ahead on her path of courting trouble. After lunch, Yunyan rested in her room for a while before heading out. This time, she didn't go too far, as she also felt tired. She found a nearby mall and started browsing, from jewelry to clothes, shoes, and hats. Every time she tried something on, she'd snap a photo and send it to Jiang Yinyan, asking if it looked good. If he replied late, she would simply send a question mark. Consequently, Jiang Yinyan's phone was constantly busy in the afternoon meeting room. Every now and then, Yunyan's photos of her trying on accessories or clothes would arrive, asking him if they looked good. At first, Jiang Yinyan didn't quite react, staring at the photos she sent for a long time until she urged him. Then he replied, Looks good. He was in a meeting, so Jiang Yinyan sent text messages. But Yunyan didn't send text. She sent voice messages. Each one was almost 50 seconds long. Jiang Yinyan didn't get annoyed after receiving them, nor did he convert them to text. He put his phone to his ear and listen, then reply with text messages. No sooner had he finished replying to one than another followed. Yunyan, it's not that I absolutely have to be out, but staying in the room is too boring. Do you understand? Jiang Yinyan, Yunyan, that bracelet just now had 2 designs. Which one do you think looks better? Jiang Yinyan, both look good. Yunyan, no. You have to choose one or the other. Jiang Yunyan didn't answer multiple choice questions. If you like them, you can buy both. Yunyan, when you have too many things, you don't cherish them. Jiang Yunyan was silent for a moment. Choose the first one, then. Yunyan bought the second one. When trying on clothes, Yunyan was even more of a hassle. It was already a troublesome affair, and after trying on one item after another, Jiang Yunyan's phone was almost exploding. If this coat is gray, will it look too dull? No. What about caramel? That's good too. Is black more versatile? You're young. There's no need to wear black, though black also looks good. I'll try the white one then. Or, will this outfit make me look fat? You're not fat. It's a bit tight around the waist, isn't it? Maybe I've gained weight there. Your weight is on your chest, not your waist. I just want to know if this outfit suits me. Jiang Yunyan didn't reply to the message promptly, because key points of the project were being discussed in the meeting. This opened the way for Yunyan's barrage. She sent a string of question marks several times in a row. Although she didn't call directly, it was comparable to an incessant death call chain. She didn't believe Jiang Yunyan would still be so patient. Sure enough, Jiang Yunyan replied to her, Yunyan, I'm busy. Although she didn't see him or hear his tone, these few words were enough to convey his impatience and warning. Yunyan didn't flinch, replying, If you're so busy, why did you bring me along in the first place? Jiang Yunyan didn't reply to her. Yunyan checked a strategy guide on her phone, then began to act unreasonably. Why aren't you saying anything? Jiang Yunyan, busy. I don't care. Either let me go back to Beishur, or I'm bored here. Jiang Yunyan, no. Then you come shopping with me. After a long pause, a message came back from the other end of the phone. Don't throw a tantrum with me. It was very clear now. Yunyan slightly pursed her lips, suppressing her amusement, and her next voice message carried a hint of displeasure. I am very bored. And I'm not allowed to say I'm bored? A few minutes later, Jiang Yunyan sent a message. Go back to the hotel. I bought a lot of stuff, just like yesterday. Either you come pick me up, or let old Lu come pick me up. 10 minutes later, old Lu arrived at the location Yunyan specified. Seeing this, she secretly rejoiced. Compared to yesterday, when Jiang Yunyan came in person, today, it was old Lu. This could only mean Jiang Yunyan was unwilling to compromise. Very good. Yunyan told old Lu to load all the purchased items into the car. Seeing that she didn't look like she was going back with him, old Lu asked, Miss you, is there anywhere else you haven't visited yet? Yunyan didn't hide it. A new milk tea shop just opened, and I heard it has a good reputation. I'm going to check it out. Old Lu said, Miss you, I'll take you wherever you want to go. Yunyan waved her hand repeatedly. I heard parking is quite difficult there, so I'll go by myself. Don't follow me. These are young Master Yan's orders. He's too busy to even look after himself, so don't worry about me, Yunyan said firmly. Old Lu looked at her, his expression grave. What do you want to say? Old Lu said, Miss you, you'd best listen to young Master Yan, otherwise, you'll be the one to suffer. Listen to him and just be bored in the hotel room. Is that it? Yunyan knew that old Lu would report her current situation to Jiang Yunyan word for word, so she decided to be as provocative as possible. He's busy with his work. I'm busy with my shopping. What's wrong with that? Old Lu looked at her. You are disturbing young Master Yan's work. He added, Miss you, I don't know if this is intentional or not, but please stop this kind of behavior. Young Master Yan's phone has been ringing all afternoon. Yunyan chuckled inwardly, but feigned innocence. Well, I can't help it. I can only ask him. Old Lu scrutinized her for a moment, then made a gesture of invitation. Miss you, please get in the car. Young Master Yan has social engagements tonight, so you should return to the hotel as soon as possible. Don't stay outside. Are there monsters and floods outside? Yunyan scoffed, her attitude very firm. Anyway, don't follow me. I really don't like it. I'll go back when it's time. She added, Old Lu, if young Master Yan asks, just tell him the truth. I don't like being cooped up in a hotel room. I'm a person, not a bird in a cage that he keeps. After saying that, she turned and left. Old Lu let out a heavy sigh. Yunyan's shopping that afternoon was a pretense. She wasn't really serious about buying things. But finding the milk tea shop was her real goal, because its owner was quite peculiar, only opening at fixed times. These fixed hours were from 5 p.m. to 12 a.m. Not a minute earlier, not a minute later. But the milk tea shop was incredibly popular. One reason for its popularity was the delicious milk tea, but more importantly, the owner was very handsome. Many girls would rather queue late at night to buy milk tea just to catch a few more glances at the owner. Yunyan was there purely for the milk tea. She had a sweet tooth. However, in the Yu family before, her consumption of sweets was quite controlled. Every time she pestered for sweets, her mother would always tell her that children who eat too many sweets would become stupid. Do you want to be a stupid princess? But her father indulged her, saying, even if our Nian Nian becomes a stupid princess, she's still a princess. She's the most important, irreplaceable little princess in Daddy's heart. Eat if you want to eat. At worst, Daddy will support you for life. She thought it over and over, and then decided not to eat them. She didn't want to become stupid, regardless of whether she was a princess or not. The milk tea shop was quite crowded. She had misjudged. Her judgment was that a shop this popular would surely be crowded right when it opened. So if she came a bit later, she might avoid the peak hours. When she arrived and saw the situation, she almost fainted. A girl who had taken a number before her said that the shop opened at 5 p.m., but everyone would come half an hour early to scan a QR code and get a number. Yunyan, isn't it just a cup of milk tea? And it was already autumn. Winter should be just a few days away. Yunyan still underestimated the combat power of young girls nowadays, especially when the owner was a handsome guy. While getting her number, Yunyan glanced into the shop. At the order counter stood a man wearing a baseball cap and a shop uniform. His figure was tall and slender, matching the standard for a handsome guy. However, he was looking down, and many girls were blocking the view in front, so she couldn't clearly see what he looked like. Yunyan looked at the number on her ticket, then at the number currently being called, and felt a wave of dizziness. There were still over 50 people ahead of her. She had successfully courted her own doom. Why did she come for milk tea? For no reason. Wasn't this just asking for trouble? She wanted to leave, but getting a taxi at this hour was too difficult. People everywhere were trying to hail cabs. She couldn't even wander around. Her calves were cramping, and she was wearing high heels, her toes aching from pressing against the shoe tips. No doubt they were blistered. Her brain must have been filled with water to wear high heels to the mall. Yunyan sat on a bench outside the shop, watching the young girls come and go. They had all clearly taken number tickets, but had no intention of leaving. They were all there to gaze at the handsome guy. They say female beauty leads men astray. Now it seems handsome men can also cause trouble. Many girls who came out of the shop went back to get another number, just to catch another glimpse of the handsome guy. Yunyan rather admired their energy. Weren't they tired of wasting so much time on this? Gradually, Yunyan stopped feeling agitated. It seemed she hadn't had such a relaxed moment since the Yu family's troubles. She just sat quietly in one spot, watching people come and go, doing nothing, thinking nothing. It was as if everyone else in the world was moving forward, while she alone was still, like a rock in the middle of a stream, letting the water flow around her, yet able to stand firm. She didn't know how long she had been daydreaming until a voice from above her head said, "Yunyan?" Yunyan looked up and froze. The newcomer, however, seemed quite excited. "It really is you. I thought I saw someone who looked like you earlier and figured I was mistaken." Yunyan stared in astonishment at the man who had appeared before her, dressed in the milk tea shop's uniform, wearing a baseball cap, with a well-proportioned and tall physique. She subconsciously glanced into the shop. Another staff member had already taken over the order counter, and the surrounding girls' gazes were all focused on this direction. "You?" She pointed towards the shop. "Yes, I'm the owner," the man smiled. Yunyan was a bit dazed and slightly suspicious. "You know me?" It had to be said, he was quite good-looking. His features had a hint of gentleness, but when his eyes crinkled in a smile, they added a sunny and cheerful air. However, she had no impression of this handsome face before her. Logically, she should, regardless of how many or how few people she had met before. Good-looking people always left an impression. The owner sat down beside her and casually handed her the milk tea he was holding. "This is for you, Junior." Yunyan was stunned. "Junior?" The owner placed the milk tea in her hand and said with a low chuckle, "My face was just slightly adjusted. It's not so much that you wouldn't recognize me, is it? Junior, take a good look at me. I'm Jiang Wenjun." Jiang Wenjun. Yunyan was startled, then forgot about drinking the milk tea. She stared at his face, looking left and right, and after a long while, she exclaimed, "Senior Jiang, my goodness, you've..." Realizing her voice was a bit loud, she quickly lowered it. "You call that slightly adjusted? Do your family members still recognize you?" Jiang Wenjun was speechless. Hey, that's enough. If it were really that exaggerated, would you even recognize me?" Yunyan smiled. Although they hadn't seen each other for years, he hadn't changed much. She meant his personality, not his face. "Well, look at you now," Yunyan said, lifting her chin forward. "You're the public's dream lover. How many girls cross Nanzhou City just to see you? You know me well, so don't join in teasing me." Jiang Wenjun sighed. Yunyan looked bewildered. "But Senior Jiang, what's going on with you? Is this your shop? Weren't you abroad? And your face, wasn't it perfectly fine before? Why mess with it?" Jiang Wenjun was her senior from high school, 2 grades above her. He later went abroad to study and, from what she heard, had developed quite well as he came from a well-off family. After that, they didn't keep in touch much. Jiang Wenjun had always given her the impression of sunny, big boy, and he wasn't bad-looking to begin with. His current face, while Yunyan had exaggerated, was actually fine. It was a subtle adjustment, at least not a drastic change in appearance. Jiang Wenjun let out a light hey. I developed my career abroad for a few years, always in finance. And the financial crisis hit, didn't it? So I just quit. When the milk tea business first started gaining traction domestically, I saw a business opportunity. But at that time, there were big players with strong capital in the country, and it was hard to quickly seize market share. So I first opened shops abroad, slowly building them up before bringing them back to China. Currently, the domestic milk tea industry is also undergoing a transformation, focusing more on the quality and culture of the tea base. Chinese-style milk tea is becoming increasingly popular, and Nanzhou is my 10th shop opened domestically. You don't do franchising, can you manage it all? Yunyan asked. Jiang Wenjun looked at her. As expected of someone who studied business, you get straight to the point. Senior, don't tease me. Jiang Wenjun smiled. I just want to manage my business well, to personally oversee a venture. I don't want to go the franchise route. I'm afraid that once there are too many shops, they'll be out of my control, and there will be more troubles. Zhan Chuan also suggested franchising before, and even helped with fundraising, but I refused them all. Then he suddenly remembered, hey, Junior, are you in touch with Zhan Chuan? He came back to China earlier than me. Jiang Wenjun noticed Yunyan's reaction. He smiled and said, no way. Junior, are you still afraid of Zhan Chuan? Did you see him? Jiang Wenjun had always thought she was afraid of Zhan Chuan, but in reality, she wasn't afraid. She had a secret crush on him. When she first started high school, the Yu family and the Jiang family hadn't yet finalized their marriage alliance intentions, although old Mrs. Jiang already liked her very much at that time. How to put it? She was still naive about matters of the heart back then, but many classmates and friends around her were already dating, and she, too, longed for love. Yet, she just couldn't find anyone she liked in her social circle. Until she accidentally ran into Zhan Chuan. The encounter was the most common and cliched scenario, right on the school's basketball court. She was pulled by a female classmate to watch handsome boys play, and that's when she saw Zhan Chuan. He played basketball well, and his looks were quite striking. So, at that moment, Yunyan heard the sound of her heart blossoming. Zhan Chuan wasn't from Jiangnan. He was from the north. Yunyan later learned his family belonged to the Beijing circle. He came to Jiangnan for school because his parents' work transferred them, so he transferred to Yunyan school later on. Later, Yunyan also learned that Zhan Chuan was good at ice hockey. When he represented the school in competitions, Yunyan went to watch and subsequently met Jiang Wenjun, Zhan Chuan's roommate. Compared to Zhan Chuan's reserved personality, Jiang Wenjun was especially sunny and cheerful, the kind of big boy who had a big heart and didn't take anything to heart. Yunyan and he became as close as magnets, often going to him to hang out. Of course, it was normal for Yunyan, such a beautiful girl, to attract male attention and affection. Back and forth, Jiang Wenjun even misunderstood. But he was a very straightforward person and asked Yunyan, tell me honestly, do you have a crush on me? If you do, let's give it a try. Although I might be reaching too high for you, there are few in the entire country who can rival your Yu family. Instead of being with some scion you don't like, why not choose me? At least we both understand each other well. Yunyan smiled and told him, Jiang Wenjun, you're thinking too much. The reason she got along well with Jiang Wenjun was purely because of Zhan Chuan. Jiang Wenjun loved to organize things, and whenever Yunyan wanted to go out, Jiang Wenjun would arrange everything, making sure to bring Zhan Chuan along. She liked Zhan Chuan. Every time she saw his back, she would easily get lost in thought. But this affection was deeply hidden in her heart. She didn't dare to reveal it. What exactly was she afraid of? Perhaps she was afraid of being rejected, or perhaps she was afraid that the relationship would have a beginning but no end. Because one time she overheard Zhan Chuan tell Jiang Wenjun that he would eventually leave Jiangnan, and everything here in Jiangnan was just a stopover for him, not the destination. At that time, Yunyan never thought she would leave Jiangnan or the Yu family. Even if she were to study abroad, she only thought of returning to Jiangnan after finishing her studies. So, at that moment, Yunyan knew that Zhan Chuan had his own family mission, and he wouldn't stop for her. Some people are only suitable for silent admiration, just like Zhan Chuan. She secretly liked him and never thought of turning that secret crush into an open one. So, every time she saw Zhan Chuan, she became unnatural, and over time, Jiang Wenjun misunderstood. He asked Yunyan, are you afraid of Zhan Chuan? Yunyan was afraid that her feelings would be seen through. So even if she explained that she wasn't afraid, Jiang Wenjun didn't believe her. He then smiled and told Zhan Chuan, you must be too serious. You've scared our junior. Zhan Chuan chuckled and asked her, am I that scary? Can I eat you? Yunyan's explanation was futile. She didn't know what Zhan Chuan ultimately thought, but Jiang Wenjun continued to believe it from then on. Until now, Yunyan softly said, after Senior Zhan went abroad for studies, we never contacted each other again. Jiang Wenjun exclaimed, no way. He's been back for so long. I thought he'd contact you first thing. Contact me about what? Yunyan's eyes held a smile. helpless and lonely. She raised her eyes, gesturing at the milk tea in her hand. Is this for me? Drink it. Why would I charge you? Jiang Wenjun said. So Yunyan, under the envious and jealous gazes of the surrounding girls, took a sip of the milk tea. It was warm, with a rich blend of milk and tea flavors upon tasting. Quite delightful. She nodded. It's good. If it's good, come over whenever you're free. I'll treat you. Jiang Wenjun's tone was hearty. Then he asked, Are you living in Nanzhou now, or? I'm just passing through Nanzhou. I'm currently living in Beishur. Beishur? Jiang Wenjun was surprised. Isn't that the same city as Zhanchuan? He also returned to Beishur after coming back to the country. Did you know? Is that so? Yunyan's expression was a bit unnatural. Jiang Wenjun observed her, then after a moment, said, I heard about the Yu family situation, Junior. I do feel like you've changed a lot since I saw you this time. But I believe difficulties will always pass. Also, if you need any help, just tell me. Don't be afraid to trouble me. I don't mind. Thank you. Saying thank you to me is being formal. What's our relationship? We were comrades in arms back then. Close friends, weren't we? Jiang Wenjun was his usual jovial self. After thinking for a moment, he pulled out his phone. What's wrong with this Zhan Chuan? He came back and ignored her, Junior. He's gotten bold. I'll send him a message. Don't send it. Yunyan quickly stopped him. Jiang Wenjun looked at her. What's wrong? You can't be that afraid of him, can you? No, it's just that there's no need to bother him. We haven't contacted each other for so many years. There's no need to now, Yunyan said softly. To be honest, that secret crush wasn't so unforgettable that it kept her tossing and turning with worry. At most, there was longing in the early stages, but it gradually faded later. However, Zhan Chuan was the first man Yunyan had ever truly fallen for, so there was always a special feeling whenever he was mentioned. That year, the Yu family decided to enter into a marriage alliance with the Jiang family in Beijing. The Zhan family, also part of the Beijing circle, was mentioned, and subsequently, Zhan Chuan, the eldest grandson of the Zhan family, came up. At that time, Yunyan somewhat believed in fate, but ultimately, due to her father's decision and practical reasons, the Yu family did not consider the Zhan family. It was also that year that Yunyan had a clear realization. Some people are not without the fate to meet, but even if they're face to face, it's impossible for them to be together. They will always be people from two different worlds. Especially now, she would certainly not contact Zhan Chuan. The past secret crush had gone with the wind, and in her current situation, she didn't need to trouble anyone. She looked up, changing the subject, but, Senior, you came back and opened a shop, but why did you get work done on your face? Did you fall for a girl, and she laughed at you for being ugly? He had only told her half the story earlier. Jiang Wenjun looked at her helplessly. Is that how you see me? Well, a few years ago, I had an accident, and my face was slightly affected. You know, I'm in the prime of my youth. I can't let past shadows follow me forever, right? So I found a reliable agency and had some work done on my face. And honestly, they did a really good job. He looked at her. You're a natural beauty, so you don't need these kinds of places. Otherwise, I'd recommend it to you too. I thank you for that. Are you really not going to contact Zhan Chuan? Jiang Wenjun was still a little unwilling. I can set up a gathering. Really? No need, Yunyan said with a wry smile. She wasn't in her blooming youth anymore. Where would she find such sentiments? Seeing her persistence, Jiang Wenjun gave up. They chatted for a while, and Yunyan, worried about delaying his business, kept urging him to return to his shop. Jiang Wenjun was carefree, saying if he had to personally handle all his shops, he'd die of exhaustion, and that the staff at the shop were managing things, so he didn't need to worry too much. Yunyan couldn't help but laugh to herself, thinking, don't you realize everyone comes for your face? During this time, quite a few bold girls came forward asking to take photos with Jiang Wenjun. He never refused anyone and was polite to everyone, reminding Yunyan of a central air conditioner, truly exuding the vibe of a scoundrel. Just as she was thinking this, she vaguely felt something was off. It was as if someone was watching her, and this feeling was very familiar. Her gaze shifted to the other side of the street, where a car was parked. Although the windows were up and she hadn't seen that car before, her heart inexplicably started racing, and a shiver ran down her spine. Soon, her phone vibrated in her bag. Yunyan pulled out her phone and looked, her scalp tingling. It was Jiang Yunyan. He had sent a message. Haven't finished chatting yet? Yunyan felt a sudden suffocation and instinctively stood up. She stared at the car across the street, a premonition telling her Jiang Yunyan was sitting inside. Her phone vibrated again immediately after. She picked it up and saw Jiang Yunyan had sent another message. Across the street, come back. Sure enough, Jiang Wenjun, having finished taking photos with the girls, saw Yunyan staring blankly across the street, looking quite odd, so he also peered across the street. What are you looking at? Yunyan withdrew her gaze, not letting Jiang Wenjun continue to look across. She said, it's getting late, I'm leaving. Don't leave. It's already dinner time. I'll treat you to dinner. Jiang Wenjun tried to stop her, enthusiastically making arrangements, as always. Yunyin quickly declined. I have other things to do. I just happen to be passing through today. Let's do it another time. Another time? Which day? When are you leaving? When was she leaving? Yunyin couldn't say, vaguely stating, I won't be staying too long this time, but there'll be plenty of time in the future, and transportation is so convenient now. We can meet whenever we want. Jiang Wenjun wasn't someone who lacked discernment. Seeing Yunyin's stance, he didn't insist. All right, well, it's much easier now that we're reconnected. Look, we've been talking for so long and haven't added WeChat. Let's add each other. We can stay in touch anytime. Yunyin, worried that Jiang Yunyin might lose patience and get out of the car, quickly added him on WeChat. Just then, someone inside the shop called him, and she urged him to go back to work. Before entering the shop, Jiang Wenjun looked back at her and made a phone call gesture. Yunyin nodded slightly. Once she was sure he was inside the shop and couldn't see outside, Yunyin quickly walked to the other side of the street. The rear car door opened, and Jiang Yunyin stepped out of the car, his long legs encased in suit trousers, strong and powerful. He stood by the car, waiting for her to approach, his tall figure exuding an endless sense of oppression. When she came closer, he opened the car door, his tone faint. Get in. Yunyin saw his cold expression and felt uncertain. She immediately reined in her thoughts, unable to be as unrestrained as she had been that afternoon. She got into the car, and Jiang Yunyin closed the door, then got in from the other side. Old Lu was driving. She hadn't seen this car before. It wasn't the one old Lu had used earlier to pick things up. But for someone like Jiang Yunyin, would he ever lack transportation wherever he went? Old Lu, back to the hotel. Jiang Yunyin's tone remained calm. Old Lu subconsciously glanced in the rearview mirror, appearing to hesitate before speaking. Yunyin keenly caught Old Lu's glance and vaguely felt something was amiss. After the car drove out of the milk tea shop's vicinity, Yunyin thought for a moment and asked, Are you done with your work? Jiang Yunyin didn't speak. She glanced at him, her heart tightened. His state was completely different from yesterday, so she fell silent. Less said, less wrong. Although his face was calm, perhaps hidden beneath that calm was a raging storm. Merely because she had been talking to another man? After a long time, Jiang Yunyin finally spoke. Did you eat dinner? No. Jiang Yunyin's face showed no ripples, and he said nothing more. The more silent he was, the more uneasy Yunyin felt. The car cabin was dead silent, without even music. Usually, even when it was quiet, there would always be some music playing. After another 10 minutes or so, Yunyin decided to explain. You might not remember him, but he's Jiang Wenjun, a senior from high school, she said softly. It's quite a coincidence. I didn't expect the milk tea shop to be his. Jiang Yunyin remained silent. Yunyin felt exhausted and decided to say nothing more unless he asked. She had already explained what needed to be explained, and there was nothing between her and Jiang Wenjun anyway. And so, the car drove back to the hotel in silence. Jiang Yunyin and Yunyin got out first, while Old Lu drove the car to the underground garage. Before leaving, he suddenly said to Jiang Yunyin, Young Master Yin, don't forget the pickup time. Jiang Yunyin had already walked forward, but hearing Old Lu's words, he abruptly stopped and turned to look at him. Yunyin stood beside Jiang Yunyin and clearly saw a flash of harshness flicker between his brows at that moment. Her heart was startled. What was wrong? Jiang Yunyin spoke, his voice very cold. Old Lu, you're talking too much. My apologies, young Master Yin. Jiang Yunyin didn't linger. He turned and entered the hotel. Yunyin followed suit. As they were about to enter the hotel, she subconsciously glanced back, only to see that Old Lu hadn't immediately driven off. He was still parked there. Was he watching them? Seeing her look over, Old Lu finally started the car and drove away. Jiang Yunyin's voice was low from ahead. Keep up. Although Yunyin was suspicious, she didn't have time to delve into it deeply. With a heavy sigh, she hurried her steps. They went straight to the restaurant, the same one as during the day. Overlooking the cityscape at night, the view was even more stunning. The restaurant had reserved a table, and the manager personally helped serve the dishes, fearing any neglect towards Jiang Yunyin. The dishes were brought out one by one, not excessively many, but each was exquisitely prepared, and the ingredients were very expensive. Throughout the meal, Jiang Yunyin was also quiet, occasionally picking up food and placing it on Yunyin's plate. Finally, Yunyin couldn't eat anymore. She said, I'm full. Yunyin could sense Jiang Yunyin's change in mood. The reason for his hidden gloominess shouldn't have anything to do with the project. That left only one possibility. It had a direct connection to her. Although Jiang Yunyin was temperamental, he wasn't someone who liked to vent his anger aimlessly. Yunyin thought for a moment and said, While we were in school, Jiang Wenjun and I were close, but we were only friends. There was never any progress beyond friendship, and you know that very well. During their school days, it was said that 3 of them often went out to play, but in reality, there were 4. Wherever she was, Ayin was there too. Although Ayin was older than Zhan Chuan and Jiang Wenjun, he was still young, so logically, playing together shouldn't have been an issue. However, Ayin always maintained the stance of an outsider. While she was wild, playing, and making noise, he would stand quietly to the side, always alert and on guard. At that time, Jiang Wenjun, with his loose tongue, casually walked up to Ayin, slung an arm over his shoulder, and chuckled, "Brother Ayin, you don't need to be so tense. Relax, and let's have some fun. We're 3 grown men. How could we let my little junior sister get hurt?" Ayin subtly avoided Jiang Wenjun's wolf's paw and said indifferently, "Some dangers hide in the shadows. Once they're discovered, it's too late. Sometimes, the danger arrives even before it's noticed." Jiang Wenjun burst out laughing, telling Ayin, "You're just being an alarmist." Then he turned to Yunyan and added, "Your Ayin is too old-fashioned and boring." Yunyan was someone who had suffered misfortunes outside. If not for Ayin, she might have even lost her life. So, naturally, she sided with Ayin, retorting to Jiang Wenjun, "What do you know? Ayin is here to protect me, not to be your companion or playmate." Jiang Wenjun dismissed it. What danger could there be in a place like this? You can barely see anyone around. That year, when Jiang Wenjun said this, they had arranged to go to the mountains and wilderness. It was late autumn, and the intense heat of summer had faded. The crisp autumn air was perfect for outdoor camping. The campsite was found by Jiang Wenjun. Autumn was indeed a good season for camping. During the day, it was suitable for sunbathing and relaxing, or having hot pot and barbecue. If they stayed overnight, they could also light a bonfire and brew tea by the fire, making it quite pleasant. Jiang Wenjun loved to play, so the place he found would certainly not be bustling. He chose a niche campsite, deep in the mountains and beneath a valley. It took more than 3 hours just to get into the mountain. There was a waterfall cascading from the mountaintop, and the first time Yunyan saw it, she was reminded of the line, as if the Milky Way falls from the 9th heaven. So, Jiang Wenjun was not wrong when he said, "You can barely see anyone around. Only experienced campers will be able to find this place and set up camp here." Although Yunyan couldn't retort immediately, she didn't force Ayin to participate. She knew that given Ayan's personality, it was impossible for him to relax and play with them. But soon, Jiang Wenjun let out a cry of surprise, and immediately after, one of his legs dropped with a thud. The place where they were setting up the tent was an old riverbed, so there were many pebbles. Hitting his knee on the ground was not just ordinary pain. Jiang Wenjun stumbled, clutching his leg, and began to wail. Yunyan and Zhan Chuan had no idea what had happened and were utterly stunned by the sight. Yunyan thought there was danger and subconsciously looked at Ayin, but Ayin just stood quietly not far away, watching Jiang Wenjun, who was clutching his leg and sweating, with an indifferent gaze. She didn't understand. Zhan Chuan rolled up Jiang Wenjun's jeans leg to see what was going on. Yunyan looked as well and was stunned. Jiang Wenjun's knee joint was red and swollen, as if he'd been hit by something. No doubt, it would be bruised purple by the next day. Zhan Chuan was the first to react, turning to stare unhappily at Ayin, scolding, "Did you do this?" Although Yunyan secretly admired Zhan Chuan, Ayin was her person. Zhan Chuan scolding Ayin was equivalent to scolding Yunyan. At least that's how Yunyan saw it at the time. She stood up, placed herself in front of Ayin, and said to Zhan Chuan, "Isn't it wrong for you to falsely accuse Ayin without any proof?" Yunyan clearly saw that Zhan Chuan was stunned for a moment. But Ayin actually admitted it, his voice very faint. "I did it." Yunyan was shocked, turning back to gasp, "Ayin." Jiang Wenjun, exasperated, cried, "Are you crazy? What did I do to provoke you?" Ayin sneered, "Didn't you say you could detect danger, young Master Jiang? I just hit you with a pebble. What if it was a knife? You wouldn't even have a chance to escape." Jiang Wenjun was dumbfounded. Yunyan was also stunned, staring blankly at Ayin. He could hit someone so hard with just a pebble. After a long moment, she murmured, "Are you skilled in one finger zen, a kung fu technique?" Ayin perhaps hadn't expected her to ask that. He paused for a moment, then couldn't help but smile. From that day on, Jiang Wenjun couldn't stand Ayin, finding him disagreeable in every way, and never even looked at him properly whenever they went out to play afterward. But despite his dislike, he couldn't do anything to Ayin. In terms of combat ability, he was certainly no match for Ayin. In fact, if he had any intention to attack, he might be thrown a zhang, a unit of length, away by Ayin before even getting close. At this moment, Yunyan brought up their school days, essentially to tell Jiang Yinyan that if anything was going to happen between her and Jiang Wenjun, it would have happened back then. Why would it wait until now? And after so many years of no contact, Jiang Yinyan didn't react to her words, continuing to eat quietly, radiating an aura of keep-out indifference. Yunyan wasn't sure if he had really listened. His silence made her uneasy, She would have preferred him to speak coldly, as at least then she could pick out clues from his words. Dinner concluded in this manner. Yin then spoke up again, asking, "Are you still going to the airport, right?" She felt that old Lu's last words before going to park the car weren't simple, as if he was deliberately reminding Jiang Yin. But in fact, Yin had her own calculations. When old Lu said that earlier, Jiang Yin was clearly displeased, indicating he didn't want to hear it. So, if she brought it up again now, would it make him furious and then storm off? Yin was prepared for the moment his anger level would rise. However, to her surprise, Jiang Yin's face remained impassive after hearing her words. He merely said lightly, "There's still time." "Still time?" And then? Soon, Yin understood what he meant by "there's still time." Leaving the restaurant, Jiang Yin reached out and clasped her wrist, pulling her along into the elevator. His pace was quick with long, powerful strides. Yin was practically stumbling and jogging to keep her balance as he dragged her. Once inside the elevator, the bright overhead light cast down, making Jiang Yin's features appear exceptionally cold, as if his eyes were permeated with frost. He never let go of her, his hand gripping her with the force of pliers. Yin tried to break free, but failed. She could feel his anger, and it was then that she realized this rage had been present since the moment he saw her. He had merely hidden it in front of others, and now that they were alone, it was fully exposed. "You're hurting me," Yin said, struggling a few more times. Not only did her wrist ache, but her feet did too. She felt her heels must be chafed, being pulled along by him. Her heels were throbbing with a burning pain. Jiang Yin's face was cold, and he paid no attention. His grip was incredibly strong. It wasn't obvious at a glance, but her wrist was actually throbbing with pain. The elevator went down one floor, and someone got on, a rather muscular man coming from the gym. Seeing people in the elevator, he didn't walk further in, but stood by the door. As the elevator doors closed, Yin's face was reflected in the mirror. The man couldn't help but glance at her a couple more times. "What are you looking at?" Jiang Yin snapped coldly. In the mirror, the man met Jiang Yin's icy gaze and was so startled that goosebumps erupted all over him. Such a robust man was so terrified he couldn't utter a sound. In truth, Yin also shivered inwardly. With Jiang Yin standing so close, she could distinctly feel her blood running cold. When the elevator arrived, Jiang Yin, still gripping Yin's wrist, exited. After the elevator doors closed, the muscular man wiped his forehead, realizing he had broken out in a cold sweat. Looking at the floor selection, he cursed. "Damn, just because you're staying in the presidential suite, you think you're hot stuff? Huh?" The hot stuff. Man dragged Yin all the way back to the room. When the door closed, Jiang Yin completely tore off his calm and reserved facade. He dragged Yin directly into the bedroom, threw her onto the bed with force, and then his tall body pressed down upon her. Jiang Yin instinctively pushed against his firm chest. His chest was too solid. She felt her arms aching from pushing against it. Unable to struggle free, she could only resist with her legs and feet, but in the next second, those two were firmly pinned. With just one hand, Jiang Yin pinned both her wrists above her head. She was utterly immobile, like a fish on a cutting board, waiting for the knife to pierce her body at any moment. "What madness is this?" she snapped coldly. "Let me go, you're hurting me." "Hurting?" Jiang Yin sneered. "Don't worry, I'll make you hurt even more very soon." The room was unlit. Only the dim glow of the floor-level LED strip lights made the man's eyes appear even more unfathomable, hinting at an unknown danger. Before Yin could react, Jiang Yin lowered his face and brutally kissed her lips. It was almost a grinding, biting kiss, as if he were unleashing the hatred in his chest.